Right. Well, fortunately, the Hogs were a bit much for Cincinnati, but I got to tell you, hard hitting game, tough game. Cincinnati doesn't miss some field goals, and Ben Bryant doesn't miss some throws, especially in the first half. I don't know where we're sitting right now.
Yeah, I hope this is just a habit of, and I hate to say that, or maybe that's the wrong word. I'm sure someone will correct me in the comment section, but week one for Sam Pittman's kind of brutal. Last year against Rice, man, they look. I mean, after that game, I had to question my 8-4 pick. It was just like, who is this? What did we just watch? And fortunately, in that game, they got it put together in the second half and put on a much better show, had a better product on the field, came out, ready to prove some folks wrong. This was, I don't know, man. This was 4 quarters of wide receivers running around wide open. Like you said, Ben Bryant, had he been a little bit more on target, yeah, they would have racked up, 450 yards passing, probably a couple more passing touchdowns at the least. A lot of work to be done in the secondary for Arkansas. There were some other bright spots, though. I was impressed with how aggressive Arkansas was blitzing on defense. Bumper Pool, I mean, the guy had like 8-9 tackles in the first half. He ended up with like 13. Jordan Dominic, the Georgia Tech transfer, a sack and a forced fumble and a fumble recovery. I mean, how about that? So there were definitely some bright spots. But yeah, the secondary, I don't know, Mark. I once again, your guy comes on here and says, I don't know what's going on, or I say it here, or I say it on Hogville or Tuss Talk. People start, here we go again. Ty's being too critical. Look what happened. Ben Bryant made Arkansas look pretty silly in the second half. That drive out of the third quarter kind of set the stage. 12 plays, 75 yards, touchdown. It was nickel and dime down the field, and he had no issue whatsoever picking apart that secondary. And yeah, and by the way, I know we're going to get to some injuries and stuff later, but Arkansas was at full strength in the first half on defense, and they were still doing that. He was just missing his targets, like you mentioned. So, yeah, there's some concern there.
And like I said, the Hogs also benefit from the worst field goal kicking team in the nation from last year. They somehow made the playoff. They had the worst field goal percentage, and they didn't fix that issue. That aside, we're focused on the Hogs. Of course, South Carolina is coming to Fayetteville coming up on Saturday. So I never really thought, for as much respect as I have for Cincinnati and for as hard as I thought both teams fought, I thought it was a tremendous game. I never really thought Arkansas was going to lose the game. I always thought that they were the better team in some capacity. KJ Jefferson turns in a nice effort, and that was much needed with 3 touchdown passes, and he ran it 18 times as well. So he gets his season off to a KJ Jefferson-like start.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's the most, if it's not the most carries he's had in a game, it's up there. It's got to be top 2, top 3. I'm pretty sure it's the most carries. I don't know. Kendall Briles, the offensive coordinator, was asked this. I don't remember who asked him, but when we were talking to him, when the media was talking with him, and he said, someone asked him, how do you feel about KJ being your leading rusher? Or what do you think about that? And Kendall Briles' response is, I like to win. Basically saying any way possible, we win football games. And I get that. I understand that. And I agree with it. You got to have the ball in the hands of your playmakers. And KJ is absolutely that. But, man, 18 times, and how physical Cincinnati was, they were physical. They brought it. And I had mad respect to their defense. They absolutely tried to zero in on Arkansas's run game. Didn't succeed because as the game went on, Arkansas just wore them down. But 18 carries, and that's a lot. That's a lot of abuse. I get it. He's a big boy. We're not talking about a 6'1", scrambling, 190-pound quarterback. We're talking about a big boy. But eventually you kind of wonder, especially with what's going on at the QB2 spot, is that something you want moving forward? Your starting quarterback, who, by the way, looked good in the passing game. Do you want him taking that many carries, that much abuse week in and week out? I just don't know. And it only gets tougher from here. So,
Yeah, as much as the Ben Bryant misses, especially in the first half, were noticeable, I don't remember, and I don't watch the game like you do. I'm watching like 3 games, but I watched every play of the game, and I don't sit there and chart the plays or anything like I'm sure you and others do to keep that recollection. But I don't remember thinking, okay, KJ Jefferson has missed. Of course, he missed a few throws, but
Yeah.
I think he was pretty much on his game. Wanted to ask you about Raheem Sanders because obviously he had a nice season last year. But, you set us up with a collection of running backs, AJ Green included. But man, they pretty much cleared the deck, and it was Raheem's game, and he had a huge one with 117 yards.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this was the most carries he's had as a Razorback. Once again, another I don't know, personal best or record broken for Rocket Sanders in terms of just carries, but 20 carries, 117 yards, just under 6 yards a carry. Unfortunately, didn't get in the end zone. I hated that for him. I really was kind of hoping he'd get in there once or twice, but he wouldn't. Of course, KJ would, but he wouldn't. But he just looks the part. My only issue with him is uh, he really tries to break it loose outside a lot. That is just like something he wants to do. He wants to go outside. He saw him do this last year, and he understood it. He was a true freshman. There'd be a decent gap for him to run through between the maybe the guard in the center or the tackle and the left guard, and he would still bounce it out. I always kind of had questions a little bit about his vision and his ability to just run the ball north and south. We know he can do it, but I feel like he should probably do it more often. We saw a little bit of that against Cincinnati on Saturday, and me and some other, pretty well-known media people were talking about it on our way to refilling our free beverages. By the way, that's a pretty cool luxury. I didn't know the media got free beverages and snack food, you name it. Pretty outstanding. Shout out to the University of Arkansas. But that's something we talked about was, man, he's sure just trying to bust outside a lot. Why not just take the gap, go up in between the center and the guard where it looks like the play's designed to go to. But other than that, Mark, he's got such high potential. He's someone who I think his caliber is first team all SEC, possibly all American. I think that is his ceiling. I think he's in that at the very least all SEC, wherever you want to toss him up at, first, second, or third team. And you mentioned the other backs. AJ Green, the track star of the bunch back there, only got 3 carries. He had 18 yards and 6 yards a carry. Really surprised they didn't use him more. Really thought he would get up near that 8 to 9, maybe 10 carries. But like I mentioned, they wanted to stick with KJ and Rocket. That was their game plan. And then we got to see a little bit of the true freshman, Rashad Dubinion, who had 2 carries for 16 yards. If anybody goes back, I don't know if it's available on YouTube. Someone maybe has a highlight somewhere. He makes a cut. I mean, it was myself and Kevin McPherson from Hogville.net talked about that on the postgame show. It was just a thing of beauty. I mean, it was like sliced cheese, man. I mean, he just went right through, and some guys try to make that cut and they're too sluggish and slow. He looks explosive. Dubinion's going to be special for Arkansas if he sticks out and can stay healthy. But they've got a stable of backs. They still got Dominic Johnson, Mark, another guy who's probably an all-conference caliber back. I mean, they're loaded back there. And a lot of teams in the SEC are. I get that. But Arkansas, it's time for these guys to get their opportunity to show it. And I hope they're able to do that. So they've got South Carolina coming up, so that'll be interesting.
Yeah, so we could, I've started this on the path position by position. I don't necessarily know if we need to go there, but of course, Traylon Burks missing was a big concern, but good feedback in fall camp about the way this group was coming together. Trey Knox had a big day with a couple touchdown receptions in this one, but of course, he's at the tight end position. Your thoughts about the receiver core?
Well, yeah, again, another area of, I don't know if I want to say surprise. I kind of thought somebody, Jaden Hazelwood and Matt Landers, their numbers would be better, but Jaden Hazelwood had a nice catch. That touchdown that he caught, I think it was a 19-yarder from KJ. It was a thing of beauty. And then they tried to give him the ball out of the receiver spot off. I think it was an end around, and it didn't really amount to much if I remember correctly. I could be wrong about that. I thought he had I think that was right in the middle of me doing so. I don't remember, but he did. They're trying to get Hazelwood. The point being, they're trying to get Hazelwood more involved in different ways. Hazelwood's got speed, and we saw a little bit of it, but that catch he made was nice. Matt Landers looks to me like a guy. He's not a Treylon Burks where he can fight through the defender, right? Like when he's got the ball in his hands, and he's just gonna run through you because he has that raw power. He's simply put, he's a 6'5" speed receiver. That's what he is. He's not a possession wideout. He's a guy that you get the ball to him downfield, you find a one-on-one matchup, he's going to turn and burn. But he's not someone who's going to fight through defenders. He looks to me like, and I thought I saw this in fall camp. He's slender kind of build, not super muscular. He's not one of those type of guys. He's not a Greg Childs. He's not a Treylon Burks. But a London Crawford, for those of you diehard Hog fans, you guys remember him, 6'2", 6'3", built like a linebacker playing receiver. That's not what he is. But I was a little surprised he wasn't targeted a little bit more, and he ends up with 3 catches for 43 yards. But, what we did see in total, we had 1, 2, 3, only 4 receivers targeted. And 3, Matt Landers, Jaden Hazelwood, Warren Thompson. Only 3 wide receivers were targeted in this game. No Katron Jackson, none of the freshmen. So yeah, we kept hearing about how they're going to spread the ball around, and they did to the running backs. They got the running backs involved in the passing game a little bit. And of course, Trey Knox, but yeah, a little bit surprised we didn't see a little bit more of that against Cincinnati, them, targeting these receivers a little bit more.
And what's going to be kind of odd is that SEC fans, close your ears for a second, that Cincinnati may actually have a faster defense than South Carolina. So the Hogs may have faced a faster defense against a group of 5 team than they will in the SEC this week.